Hello everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel. Today I want to go over a video titled 5 Misconceptions and/or Myths and Pieces of Insights that I see very commonly in the OCD and anxiety community surrounding rumination. Now, rumination is something that an OCD sufferer knows all too well and has been given very, very poor advice about why you just have to stop it and ignore it and redirect. And when you're suffering with chronic OCD, we're really the ones that actually understand how this rumination process works the best because we are the ones who have experienced it for potentially years, every moment of the day on end, whether it's an urge, a sensation, an image, a thought, whatever it may be. So before I go any further, please like, subscribe. It's good for the algorithm. Getting this stuff out there is very important because of how much rumination information is in the dark. Most of the things I'm reading about rumination is entirely incorrect and keeps a lot of sufferers thinking hopeless and why they think they have to tackle rumination when there's actually no tackling of rumination that needs to be done. So let's just dive right into it. Number one, and again, I have my piece of paper in front of me. You can automatically stop ruminating X% each day. Now, this is something I've seen proclaimed many times, something I have fallen into, that you could just bring down rumination each day. Now, there's a difference between rumination that's automatic, which is the majority of the journey. It's Nick, it feels so automatic. Why is it just firing on autopilot? A good example is someone who has ROCD, the fear of never feeling connection with their loved one. They're at dinner and they're, oh, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And then, are you sure you love all that automatic rumination? You cannot just redirect in the moment. That becomes a compulsive avoidance behavior. So you're not going to be able to bring down rumination, how people say, bring down rumination 1% each day, every other day, and recover in 100 days. That is nonsense, keeps many sufferers stuck, and it is just poor advice. And the OCD sufferer knows this, and they might be told, well, you must be doing it not incorrectly. That's not true. It just doesn't work that way. It's just not good. So now what you can stop is that outward analyzing that. So let's say you have that, right? The ROCD example. Then you come home from dinner and you sit on the couch and you're actively trying to analyze and ruminate. You can actually bring that down quickly. But since the majority of it is popping up, remember, because we talk about disputing core beliefs, not thoughts as they come. You don't want to engage with thoughts as they come. You want to allow them to be there. That's really important. Number 2, you can redirect and relabel. If you notice something that's unique about OCD Recovery's YouTube channel, almost 700 videos, I'm very active in the OCD community, you will never hear me say the words redirect, relabel, or anything like that. Number 1, you can't redirect and fool yourself and relabel when you're chronically afraid of being, say, stuck forever with the fear of fear, ROCD, the fear of never feeling connection, HOCD, harm OCD, POCD, the fear of societal rejection, existential, the fear of what happens after death, sensory motor, fear, the fear of being stuck forever. You're not going to be able to trick yourself and redirect. It's one of the most common misconceptions I see with sensory motor. Just redirect your attention, redirect it, focus on something else. Yeah, but I'm afraid I'm going to notice my saliva for the rest of my life. Yeah, but just redirect. So those redirection and relabeling might work for some milder, really subclinical levels of OCD, but more than likely they're not going to touch any sort of chronic fears. And unfortunately, they turn into a compulsion. Now, on the back end of that, it is important to have healthy distractions. And what we mean by healthy distractions is building your lifestyle factors with balance. Being balanced with caffeine, being balanced socially, drinking alcohol. If you don't struggle with alcoholism, obviously, a lot of people won't drink alcohol because of the fear of a false memory, real event, fear of cheating, going to the gym, getting outside, being balanced, not eating out every single meal, having a balance between eating out and cooking, hanging out with friends and family, being social, reading the books on the reading list. These are all healthy ways that can be semantically argued to a distraction, but it's just building lifestyle structures and bringing the discomfort with you. The third thing I want to talk about is that rumination is separate from your fear. Something I see all the time is people saying, how do I tackle rumination? What do I do to tackle? How do I battle rumination? First of all, there's no battle to be had with OCD. The more you think this is a battle, and understandably so, because there's a lot of nonsense out there that talks about battling your OCD, the further you move away from actual acceptance, which is a state of being, not a state of doing. Battling is a doing. Being, accepting is a doing nothing. It's a being. And I don't mean doing nothing by sitting on the couch, but allowing yourself to feel intrusive thoughts, images, sensations. So you're ruminating because you're scared. That's very important. We're going to talk about that in the next 2 points. But it is important to state that your rumination is directly correlated with your fear. Number 4, rumination needs to be worn just like an uncomfortable coat, where we say wear anxiety like an uncomfortable coat and everything like that. Now, with OCD recovery, what we say is wear anxiety like an uncomfortable coat. But what we mean by that is wearing all discomfort like an uncomfortable coat, wearing the chronic guilt sensations. Because remember, guilt is a word. It doesn't mean anything. It's the sensations that guilt and shame bring. Anxiety is a meaningless word. This could be called anxiety, but it's the sensations that it brings. That is what's key. You're running from the sensation. You're running from the depressive feelings, the anxiety feelings. So wearing that rumination like an uncomfortable coat, remember, intrusive thoughts, images, sensations, and urges, wearing them and getting used to them popping up in any scenario, at any place, at any time is vital for your recovery process. Vital. So you don't have to engage with rumination. You'll more than likely engage at some point. Have you been doing that in a more automatic format? You've been doing it because you're so scared. You've been taught to relabel and redirect and all that, but you have to be honest with yourself. That stuff just doesn't work. It doesn't work for long-term recovery because what happens is the person thinks when they reach recovery, they have to maintain that relabeling. That's not true. Just like an alcoholic who's been in sobriety for 10 years, they have to be conscious, but they don't have to be so damn vigilant. Maybe they do. We don't know the scenario. But when it comes to anxiety, people think that you have to do like 20 mantras a day or do 3 breathing meditations a day. Nothing wrong with meditations. Mantras is a slippery slope. But you don't have to do anything to maintain that except for keep up with your rational perspectives. Because humans, as we know, are very irrational naturally, and we can backslide easy, especially in the beginning. The 5th thing, the last thing I want to talk about, and it's the most important practical takeaway on how to actually bring down rumination, is address the fear. Let's use the ROCD example. It's a great example. Many people struggle with ROCD. I talk to ROCD sufferers all the time. Let's say you have the fear of never feeling connection and being in the wrong relationship. So anytime you go somewhere and you're out to dinner and you're going to a movie, you get that. You're like, what if I don't love them? Blah, blah, blah. And then you start noticing other people. Am I attracted to them? What if I'm more attracted to them than the other person? All the automatic rumination that I'm talking about right now will need to play out as you bring the fear down over time. You're not going to be able to bring that rumination down day by day. You will be able to stop the outright analyzation that I'm talking about, sitting on the couch after this and saying, like I said earlier, I'm going to figure out why this happened. You cannot do that, as uncomfortable as it feels. Maybe not right away, but pretty quickly. Automatic rumination, if it takes you 2 years to recover, it's probably going to fire on and off for 2 years. That's just the way it is. That's the reality of how rumination actually operates. Think about a plane. If you are super scared of going on planes, how do you get over going on planes? The fear of being on planes? First of all, you got to go on a plane. Second of all, you usually have to break the fear down of worst case scenario. What if the plane crashes? What happens if I lose a loved one on the plane and I survive and blah, blah, blah. But you have to wear that automatic rumination, fearful sensations, maybe of a sympathetic response, and your hands are sweaty and you're like, oh, while you're sitting in the chair. You have to wear that just like you would wear rumination. That is key. So let's go over everything we did, a little bit shorter of a video. You can't stop automatic rumination like people think. Redirecting and relabeling can usually become compulsive and doesn't work in the way we think it does. Rumination is not separate from your fear. Rumination needs to be worn like an uncomfortable coat, and working on your fear is how you bring rumination down. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. This is just a short, packed video with just a lot of good information covering rumination. Again, you have to ask yourself, why is rumination happening? Okay, we don't have to know it for sure, but rumination is more than likely happening because I'm scared of something. So why don't I go to the genesis and work on the core fear and then allow rumination to play out whilst I bring the core fear down? I always use diabetes as an example, type 2 diabetic. You know, you have your fasting blood glucose, you have your A1C. Yeah, we monitor those things, but what we do is we work on the core. We get healthy, we get outside, we exercise, we do, We do all these things to get healthy. And then in time, our blood glucose starts to stabilize, our A1C gets back to normal. Maybe we have no more neuropathy. I don't know why I'm using big words like that. Neuropathy, pins and needles and sensations in your feet for nerve dysfunction. Fun fact, nerves does not like glucose. So that's what diabetic neuropathy is. Fun fact, you just learned something in this video. So yeah, there goes my ADHD getting off topic sometimes, but I'm pretty good at honing it in. It is important to realize that rumination process will have to play out on its own. So thank you so much for watching. Comment down below. I always go in and answer comments as much as I can, and have a great day.